Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, this is an interesting take, and obviously, this is a day old, so we're covering it now. And there's been a lot of speculation over this. John Fetterman, the United States Senator from Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has a Republican and a Democrat senator. John Fetterman is that Democrat senator from Pennsylvania. And apparently, Pennsylvania has actually a very good Democrat senator. John Fetterman, honestly, don't really compliment Democrats, but John Fetterman has been credited and complimented by the MAGA base as being very base, because this guy's the most moderate senator out of the Democrat camp. It used to be Joe Manchin. But to be honest, John Fetterman was very close to surpassing Joe Manchin towards his moderate ideology. Manchin happened to be very more conservative, though. Manchin opposes abortion, supports gun rights, and he kind of has to, because he's from a very solid red state, so he has to be a dino Democrat name only. But now Manchin's gone, we have no dino Democrats, and we used to have a lot of dino Democrats in the Senate, but now we don't have any dinos. We just have John Fetterman. A lot of people say, oh, he's dino for sure. And that's what the Democrats criticize him as: a dino, a sellout, a conservative. And he kind of is this sort of classical liberal Clinton Democrat. And that's sort of how he has been campaigning and running as, and advertising himself as, policy-wise, that a Clintonian sort of Democrat. And that's kind of, a lot of people say, oh, John Fetterman, that's kind of how he won. And to be honest, a lot of us didn't want John Fetterman to win. I can recall my channel was not around during 2022, but I was a huge contributor to Red Eagle Politics, and I followed with him, and we both agreed that John Fetterman, he was good. He was a very left-wing radical, and we were wrong. We misjudged John Fetterman, and I know a lot of people that just don't like John Fetterman because of his political beliefs will hate me on this. But let's be honest, guys. We got to be grateful that we have a moderate Democrat here. It could be much worse. We could have someone like, I don't know if there's a squad member in Pennsylvania, but let's just say there's a future squad member in Pennsylvania, and he or she takes over the seat in Pennsylvania, John Fetterman's seat. We're going to be wishing, oh yeah, John Fetterman, he was much better, right? I don't agree with Fetterman at all. No, I don't like Fetterman. I mean, I'm fine with Fetterman, but I don't agree with him on everything. But I look at John Fetterman as a man who just really cares about, this guy will not come out and admit it, but this guy's America first. He supports, of course, he kind of supports the removal of illegal immigrants. He's saying, yes, it needs to be done. And he says, I will confirm all of Trump's appointees or cabinet members, even if they're controversial. This is a man that we can rely on. And when we have people like Susan Collins, and Mitt Romney's gone, so he won't be confirming them. Mitt Romney's gone. We have John Curtis, the new Mitt Romney in Utah, just as bad in my opinion. We have John Curtis. You got Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, all these goonball Republicans in there, and really you got all the other Republicans. Yeah, it's a split ticket here, but John Fetterman has come out every time saying, yeah, I'm going to basically I'm going to call in and endorse and support Donald Trump's nominees. Now it has said that Donald Trump has, of course, John Fetterman has come out in massive opposition to Donald Trump with his false claim, with his quote false claims. You have to always put the quotation marks in there, of election fraud in Pennsylvania. But And 4 years makes a difference. I'm telling you, 4 years makes a difference. I think John Fetterman, in many ways, has been red pilled. And there's more that needs to be added to this Wikipedia article. We've seen John Fetterman come out and support of his in opposition against his own party, rallying against the far left populist pro-Palestine faction of his party that wants to cut all aid to Israel and basically destroy the state of Israel altogether. John Fetterman, of course, is a very strong Israel ally. And yes, it says here, Fetterman was formerly referred to and called himself a progressive, but has since rejected the label. Why do you think? The definition of progressive has gotten too far. And to be honest, the former ideology of progressivism is actually now in the MAGA party, the MAGA Republican Party. Think about it. I want you to think about that. No, it's not. No, MAGA is never far left, and I'm not saying it's far left. But we went from the time when I was a little kid, by the way, it used to be the Republican Party was very pro-war under Dick Cheney and George Bush. The Democrat Party was anti-war. They didn't want any aid in Iraq. They didn't want to go to Iraq. They didn't want to go to Afghanistan. They were focused on getting those troops back home and eventually finding a way to stop the war. The Republican Party back then wanted to keep the war going. Now the parties have switched. And like I've said before, John Fetterman is this Clintonian sort of Democrat, back like this Bill Clinton 1990 era, this low taxes, sort of that Bill Clinton policy. He's a liberal. He is left-wing. I don't agree with him on most of his issues. But guys, we have to be diplomatic. And we have to use the senators. We cannot take this. We have to take this for. We don't take this for granted. We have to take this for granted here. You'll have John Fetterman, and he's coming out and he's saying, hey, I want to go to Mar-a-Lago. I want to meet with Donald Trump. He is the very first sitting Democrat to visit Donald Trump. And here, this Wikipedia article is calling John Fetterman this very anti-Trump. They need to clean this article out because a lot has changed with John Fetterman. A lot. And it used to be John Fetterman was really criticized when he took office in 2023. I was a part of that movement of Republicans, conservative, the MAGA base that came out against Fetterman. But Fetterman, I can see being unhingingly far left during 2023. But I think after his first year in the Senate, he learned that, you know what? That's not really how to go. And I will make this clear. I am not a Fetterman supporter in any way. No. And to all you guys who are saying, oh, Fetterman's going to switch parties. No, he's not. He's a dedicated Democrat. He is. Now, let's just say Republican Party becomes so successful at building this moderate coalition, this diverse coalition of ideologies, then I would think Fetterman would become a Republican. But not now. Trump's not even in office yet. Yes, Fetterman is becoming more conservative because his own party is just so bad. They're like, yeah, we don't want to. They have this proposal Trump proposes this bill to help people with cancer. No, we're not going to sign the bill. No, because it was proposed by a Trump MAGA Republican. Really? They're so demented, deluded, and deranged that just because the bill came from a Republican, oh no, we're not going to sign it. No, it's racist. We support it. Really? So here's what I think. Here's what I think. Why Fetterman is coming out and and meeting Trump at Mar-a-Lago. He wants to find common ground. He met with Katie Britt on Fox News, and this is a guy that appears on Fox News often. And we can even watch this video, because why can't we? John Fetterman, he's trying to meet with these Republicans and trying to find common ground. I did not like this guy in 2023. He was very immature, but now, seeing the absolute difference, this guy is coming out and he's trying to get his party to say, hey, look, we don't have to hate them. We don't have to hate them. We need to work together so we can succeed. So, I'm not sure what Fox News is doing right now. Let's see. I want to watch the video.
Illegal aliens who commit crimes must not be released into our communities. Our colleagues can't even use the term of art that's in the statute. Illegal alien. They can't even use that.
This is a great boon to those for-profit detention companies who make enormous profits from mandatory detention.
Well, the Laken-Riley Act passed today in the House, named, of course, for the woman who died in Georgia, February 2024, at the hands, authorities say, of an illegal immigrant. That passed 264 to 159, 48 House Democrats. It requires federal detention for illegal immigrants guilty of theft crimes. Senate action on that bill is now pending. It's time for our Common Ground segment. Joining us to talk about the Laken-Riley Act and other things, Alabama Republican Senator Katie Britt and Pennsylvania Democratic Senator John Fetterman. Thank you both for being here again in Common Ground. Why is
I want to mention it? They both were elected the same year, so kind of
this important?
Common ground there.
How confident are you about the Senate action here?
Yeah, so I think we've seen this litigated over the last 4 years, time and time again. And I think on November 5th, the American people delivered a verdict and said, we want secure borders. We want you to prioritize the safety and security of Americans over open border policies. And so this is a common sense piece of legislation, obviously named after a remarkable young woman that was taken from this earth way too soon. And I think that the bipartisan support that you saw in the House, I am really hopeful will carry on into the Senate. And we're already seeing good traction from our Senate colleagues interested in coming on board.
Senator Fetterman, there are Democrats, obviously, who spoke out against this today. One of them, Congressman Raskin. Take a listen.
Here's the unhinged. This is the woke guy.
Paste into it a template immigration law covering convicted criminals.
I'm interrupting again. A lot of people hate me for that, but I just want to point out. The most far-left loonies like this guy comes from Maryland, California, New York. The very dark blue states. Just saying, state-run media, big cities like Baltimore, Boston, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago. What makes these states so dark blue? It turns out these people are just as blue as the state itself. So let's see what this Looney Tune... He obviously voted against the bill because he thinks it's demonizing immigrants because the idiot buffoon that went and killed Lincoln Riley, if you dare insult him, that's racism, even though he killed Lincoln Riley. So let's continue on. Let's see what this clown has to say.
Criminals, and then require detention or deportation of certain persons merely accused of committing the crime or arrested for committing the crime. No due process required at all. This allows us to get up and demonize immigrants.
So what do you say to that? You've signed on to this bill.
Oh, well, I mean, I have a lot of enormous respect for my colleague in the House, but I just happen to disagree on this. And for me, just like my friend and colleague in the Senate, like it's really common sense. And I'd like to remind everybody that we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of migrants here illegally that have convicted of crimes. And why, I don't know why, who wants to defend that, to allow them to remain in our nation after that? And now, if you're here illegally and you're committing crimes and those things, I don't know why anybody thinks that it's controversial that they all need to go.
Do you think that this was one of, if not the biggest issue for this election?
Well, I think if we can't, there's 47 of us in the Senate, and if we can't pull up with 7 votes If we can't get at least 7 out of 47, and if we can't, then that's a reason why we lost. That's one of them. That's why we
ding
lost.
Ding.
Go ahead.
Brett, if you think about that, I mean, that's what he's saying, needing the 7 votes to be able to debate this bill. And I think the American people have already answered that question. They have said, we want you to find ways to have common sense, bipartisan solutions to help us secure our border and keep our country and communities safe. And so I'm hopeful that our colleagues will come together and say, let's talk about this.
Well, I mean, I've been in this same chair, and I was arguing about a year ago saying that, you can be pro-immigration, but we need a secure border, and we have a serious issue here on the border, and we have to address that. And here we have now, we can be pro-immigration, and I really believe we should protect the dreamers. But I don't know why it's controversial that we need to deport any migrants here illegal that are engaging in kinds of criminal activity. I don't know why that's controversial to anybody.
So this starts, if the Senate passes and it gets eventually to the president's desk, a process on the immigration, but on the bigger, broader economic aspects of it, which would require funding. There is this debate of whether to have one big, beautiful bill, as President-elect Trump says, or whether to have 2 bills to go at it. Do you have a sense of how that's going to go?
So obviously we've seen that the president talked about one big, beautiful bill. And at the end of the day, we're going to do whatever it takes to produce results for the American people. There's a lot that we've got to do when you're looking at the border, when you're looking at energy, when you're looking at creating a strong defense, and when you're looking at creating economic prosperity for all Americans. And so whatever road gets us to that result is the one that we're going to take. We're excited tomorrow night. Senate Republicans will get to visit with President Trump, and we'll get to talk about the best pathway forward. And I think we're all eager to get working and to actually produce results for the American people.
Senator Fetterman, you've met with a number of nominees already. You've suggested...
just did one of your former colleagues here just about 3 hours ago.
Is that right?
Sean Duffy, actually.
Oh, Sean Duffy.
Yeah.
Senator Warner, the chair of the, co-chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, met with Tulsi Gabbard. He said he had a session with Ms. Gabbard. He went on with a lot of questions. He's still got a lot of questions, and that we have to do a process, a beginning of a process, suggesting that there's a long way to go. Is this Tulsi Gabbard one of the nominees that you could vote for?
Well, I met with her. In fact, I think I've met with virtually all of them. And the ones that I haven't, they're on my schedule, RFK and Governor Noem. So I'm happy to meet with all of them. And that's also part of this. I don't know why that was controversial. I mean, I got a lot of blowback just, even to meet with them. And to me, I see that as just doing my job. And I'm going to have a conversation with anyone that would like to have a conversation with me. And if someone believed everything that's been written or said about me was true, I mean, you can't possibly know me, or I think I could know her either, just based on someone read. But I want to sit down and have a conversation, and I'm really glad that I've done that. And some of these nominees I'm going to vote for already. In fact, whether it's our colleague Rubio, Representative Stefanik, or even Sean Duffy, I expect to vote for him as well too, and Brooke Rollins for agriculture. Yeah. So there's a lot of them I can say right now here on Fox. I'm going to vote for them. But there's others, but that we're going to go through the process. But I'm open to hear from everyone, and I don't know why that's controversial. And I also would like to remind everyone on the Democratic side, that's the way democracy works. Trump won, and now they're going to run the table, and so they get to pick those kinds of people. And if you don't have to agree with all of it, but I want to find a way to work together on a bunch of them.
And I want to commend him on that, because that's the way it should be. Article 2, Section 2, sitting down, asking questions, understanding the vision, understanding what they want to do for the American people, and John giving them that shot, and they have to answer his questions, but that's the way that it should be done.
Let me ask you this about the press conference today. Obviously the American people voted on the issue of the economy, on the issue of immigration.
John Fetterman's getting a phone call.
They were voting for taking over Panama or getting Greenland as a part of the U.S.?
So, Brett, what I think they did vote for is regaining American strength, that peace through strength, that respect in the world, that regaining our footing to where our allies respect us and our enemies fear us. They want to make sure that we get the hostages back in Gaza. They want to make sure that the Abraham Accords safeguards are not only there, but are expanded on. And they want us to regain our footing. And so that's what you saw today was a reshaping of that and an America starting to lead. And I think you'll see that from President Trump.
You think there'll be more of this part? Go ahead.
Can I talk about like there's a lot of talk about Greenland, for example. Now, and I know there's a lot of freakouts, and of course I would never support taking it by force. But I do think I do think it's a responsible conversation if they were open to acquiring it and whether just buying it outright. I mean, if anyone think that's bonkers, it's like, well, remember the Louisiana Purchase? Oh, I think Alaska was a great deal too. $50 million, I think it was. It was it was referred to as Seward's Folly, and now that was Alaska now. So, I mean, open to having all kinds of conversations as well. And now I don't think it's not helpful to freak out, but some things might work out, some may not, but that's part of an ongoing dialogue. But he hasn't even taken office in 2 weeks, and, we really need to pace ourselves if we're going to freak out over every last tweet or every last conversation or press conference. But
that's a good one, John. I like it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, we are here to work together. Yeah. And some things we can agree or disagree, but I think that's how DC works.
And you all have a great rapport. We saw it last time when you came on Common Ground. Do you think the 119th Congress is going to be more of trying to find that?
I hope so. And I hope the two of us can be a part of that. I mean, look, I think the people that elected us expect us, when we share a common goal with someone on the other side of the aisle, get in the room and figure it out. And there's a lot of things that we need to figure out for Americans. And so putting that first and figuring out how to work together to achieve that is essential.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like I said, I met with Sean Duffy, and privately he admitted that the Steelers is a lot better than the Packers. I mean, like, again, I don't.
And of course, I'm still with the Pats.
I'm like, I agree with you, but we're going to find a lot to work together, about infrastructure here in Pennsylvania and other. But regardless, so.
Well, thank you both for coming back. Appreciate it. You can see all the Common Ground segments on my podcast, Common Ground. Find that in the All-Star Panel podcast.
Okay, thank you, Brett. But anyway, you get the point. Now, I want to clarify. Fetterman's not a Trump supporter. He will never be a Trump supporter. Never. I mean, okay. I know what I just said it 10 minutes ago. Now I get a phone call. Okay. I know I just said 10 minutes ago, oh, maybe he will join the Republican Party if it's a successful political party, if it's a diverse coalition. Yeah, there's a possibility, but do you think Trump will be do you think Fetterman will be a Trump supporter? No, he's not a Trump supporter. That's the thing. Fetterman still criticizes the Republican Party. But do you think I'm going to come out and go, Fetterman's a bad senator. Shame on Fetterman for criticizing us. No, that's tyrannical. And then we're acting like Democrats. Okay? We need to sit down, drink a frappe or frappuccino with the other side. I'm not going to say drink a beer because I'm not an alcohol type, but just drink, eat steak, eat cake with the other side. Okay? You got to learn how to do that. And of course, Republicans are trying to. Trump tried to. But the majority of the Democrat Party, you can't eat cake, you can't sip a beer with them. No, you can't, because they're racist, they're sexist, they're Nazis. No, that's not going to help unify the country. We want part of making America great again is stopping this divide, stopping this division. We got to learn how to tolerate each other. And John Fetterman, he comes from the other side, yeah. He's a Democrat, yeah, but he's advocating. He's willing to work with us, and we need to work with him. Katie Britt, very, very MAGA, came out and praised Fetterman. If Katie Britt, now I know a lot of people don't like Katie Britt. It's just, she can say a lot of some alarming stuff, but if Katie Britt from Alabama, a Republican, very MAGA, comes out and says, yeah, John Fetterman, yes, I don't agree with him, and I don't agree with Fetterman at all. But in this matter, at trying to bring the country forward to unity and common ground, we support that. So, yeah, we can already imagine what the Looney Tune Democrats that are brainwired to MSNBC are doing right now. The Looney Tune Democrats, oh, Fetterman, he's kissing the ring, just like Joe Scarborough and Mika Marzinski from MSNBC. They're all going to Mar-a-Lago. They have to go to Mar-a-Lago if they want to be on good terms with President Trump. Then they're gonna have to make the humiliating walk to Mar-a-Lago. It's a long journey. Walk of humility to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. John Fetterman's running to Mar-a-Lago. And he's not kissing the ring. He hasn't kissed anyone's ring. John Fetterman will still be a Democrat. John Fetterman will still be a liberal at the end of the day. John Fetterman is always going to be the guy that will vote against our bills. That's not going to change, guys. So, no, he's not MAGA. But for a Democrat, he's very MAGA. For a Democrat. And that's why I like to call him this Clintonian Democrat. But what do you guys think in regards to John Fetterman and this and his moves here? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.